Hey guys, welcome back to the Independent Investor channel. It's so good to be with you again. And the goal on this channel is to empower one investor at a time. And what that truly means is to get this information out there to numerous people. If I said that to be successful in your investment future, you needed to go in and you needed to devote an hour and you knew nothing about investing at all. And you'd have to go in and you'd have to sit down with a financial planner, for example, and at the end of that meeting, you came to an agreement that you as the customer was going to put up all the risk, okay? But the individual sitting on the other side of the desk was going to share in your success as your wealth accumulated and grew over time. Is that something that you would agree with? I think, a lot of why we do this program is to offer real-world solutions to the financial industry and independent investing, insofar as letting people know that the tools and resources are out there for you to do it on your own. Okay, the availability of information nowadays is critical. And if you just had a little bit of time to understand or want to learn a little bit more about investing, certainly those opportunities are out there. And one of the goals that we talk about all the time on this show is to build a movement of people that are into investing on their own for the sole purpose of wealth preserving their hard-earned dollars and tax preserving. Okay, the show is aimed really at helping the investor that is looking to start out, I think. And anybody who's looking to start out, I think, I say this a lot, you're probably the most vulnerable with regard to the information. I mean, I see commercials all the time now talking about fees, and if you pay real close attention, they almost patronize people, into, okay, here's the fee, full well knowing that you're really not prepared to ask the right questions about, how much those fees are going to mean to your account over time. And, it's really unfortunate because a lot of people, they'll just put their money to sleep, in 30 or 40 or 50 years from that original appointment. They'll look back over their time and say, wow, this was the effect on my account. And if you can avoid some of those mistakes earlier on in your career, certainly you're gonna be empowered right from the beginning, and you can make maneuvers. I don't talk so much about buying the magic stock on the Independent Investor channel. I don't talk so much about buying either Amazon or Google, because quite frankly, somebody who's starting out, neither one of those stock positions are appropriate for you. All right. So what we're going to talk about on this particular show is to try to get the mind shifted to get a little bit excited about investing. When we were growing up, it was always an exciting thing to go into the bank and start for the first time your checking and savings account. And we understood that by saving money, we would put ourselves in a little bit better position later on in life when we needed certain things, okay? We could start to take on some of the responsibilities, as we started to drive a car or carry some levels of insurance or, anything. When we went off to college and we started those activities, we always would fall back on that original starting of those accounts. And what we're going to kind of talk about today is really just the fundamental approach to starting the accounts. And it's amazing to me when I talk to people how easily people are persuaded or justify certain activities over others. For example, how often we'll justify going out to eat, or we'll justify going to the movies, or we'll justify spending our money in things that aren't really going to return us anything. And trust me, that can be really good. That can be really good on a lot of different fronts. You need to provide yourself some of those, leisurely activities. I just find it interesting how we want to spend a lot of our budget or most of our budget on sunken cost and leisure activities, and we won't just take a second to step back and look at our personal budget and look at how we can pay ourselves first. Okay, so by offering up the opportunity for yourself to not only carry your starting savings and your checking account, I think nowadays is extremely prudent to look at that third option and to get that third option started. Okay. A lot of what I offer on this show, you don't have to go in and sit down with a financial planner. And I would do a plan for somebody one-on-one, but this honestly gives me a platform to reach potentially thousands of people at the same time. And quite frankly, people need to be privy to this information because it is out there, and there are opportunities in the financial realm or the financial investing world that are available to individuals that are just looking to, live a normal life, but also have a little bit of inkling about participating in the market. And if we understood really how simple it was, I find that we would have so many more people participating and starting to move away from a lot of the traditional means that we tend to think are our only options. Our only options are to go through a financial planner. And I'd love to dispel a lot of those notions and get some people with some accounts started, number one, starting to fund those accounts, starting to get yourself paid first. Okay, so, out of your check, if you could piece that third account and end up funding that account with $25, most of us nowadays have some sort of direct deposit set up in our account. If we could just start that third account and start to fund that account, even if you wanted to just give yourself a chance to get some money built up in those accounts and not even invest right away, and that's okay too. It's just, the problem exists where you never take that first step and look to start that account and get it going so you can start to enjoy some of the fruits and some of the benefits of being an investor, even passive investing to start. So, I just want to talk about, I've got 3 points really. If people knew the power of the information, really they would probably pay for it. But everything that I talk about on this show, at least from a starting perspective, there's amazing how many things in the financial industry you can get just free of charge. It'll cost you nothing. And when I talk to a lot of people, they say, well, yep, I'm going to start. And they tell me over and over again, yep, I'm going to start. And it's these free steps that I'm talking about that all they have to do is just take a little bit of initiative, to get those free starts. And really, all it really takes sometimes is just to get your feet wet and kind of get you started to feel comfortable with going ahead and taking that first move into the investment world. So really, the first thing I've got up here is to start the account. And again, I spoke about, most people carry a savings and a checking account. If you're paying any type of fee monthly to carry those accounts, you need to close those accounts and you need to start up a free account. Most banks will offer some sort of incentive to be in an elite checking or savings account if you just set up direct deposit with your financial institution. Okay, so on some of my previous videos, I talked about how to go ahead and search out your brokerage houses to end up starting that third account that I talk about. And starting your individual self-managed Roth IRA costs you no money. Okay, if you get online, you can usually start the account within 10 or 15 minutes. So it's extremely easy to get on there and do that first step and get that account started. Why do we do that? It's because we need to mentally get ourselves conditioned not to buy stock right away, but to get ourselves mentally conditioned to paying ourselves first. That's the most important thing. All right, that account the monies that will flow into the checking account will be based on supporting your everyday activity throughout that month, okay? For example, your gas, your food, things like that. All right, but when you're starting your investment account, the sole purpose of those dollars are to fund that account with the eventual opportunity to purchase assets within that account that are going to appreciate. All right, so you see the difference here, that we always want to justify things that are going to give us instant gratification. All right, YouTube is a perfect example. All right, there's a lot of channels out there that have 10 million views, I watch them and they irritate me because you get instant gratification and then you can turn it off and you're done. All right. But something that's really credible, it's amazing how often people will justify themselves away from not doing it for whatever reason. I really haven't got to understand yet. But the number two thing, once you start this account, you're going to have access to all the information that these accounts offer for you. Information to stock ratings, information to set up your watch lists and start to track individual sectors. I'm going to be doing videos on all these topics, okay? So really subscribing to Independent Investor channel, paying attention to some of the excellent investment advice that you can get out there. And we'll all be talking about generally the same thing. Quite frankly, your financial institution can be a source of incredible information, and they're not going to charge you for those meetings. Now, they're going to charge you in management fees and everything that I've talked about on my previous videos. But if you go truly independent, like I am, you'll understand the fruits of those decisions actually really quick, and understand that you save so much more money by doing so. But to get these accounts started, again, for free, and starting to see the monies flow in, again, it's just starting with a small amount at $25. Perhaps you have a spouse and you want to start the two accounts. All right. What I explained to basically a student of mine just a couple days ago is it allows yourself a drop point for money when life has an unexpected injection of money, okay? For example, everybody wants to get their tax return back and they want to head to Walmart and they want to buy the biggest TV because the one last year is too small, okay? Right? They want to graduate from the 65-inch TV and they want to move up to the 70-inch TV. And those small injections of money can be a perfect example to fund these accounts and get these accounts toward their maximum caps. So when you don't have these accounts started, you'll do everything that you can do to justify either just putting it into a savings account to be dwindled down over time. I hope this doesn't sound too familiar to a lot of you, but if it does, kind of take note, and that you can really change your direction. And by starting these accounts, it can give you that opportunity to get into these accounts and utilize the many platforms for research, recommended ETFs, recommended index funds, recommended stocks. You can get on there and look at what stocks Warren Buffett is buying. Every platform has a recommended A list. You can check Morningstar ratings. So just the power of information that's out there, really, there's no excuse not to get on there and start that account. If you had never invested one single dime in these accounts, just to have the account open, quite honestly, for the information is worth opening them and just taking a little bit of time out of your life to start these accounts and give yourself exposure to that information. Okay. The last thing I've got here is funding the account. Now, that's not necessarily free of charge, but again, remember how I talked about all the things that we justify: buying cars, purchasing fuel, buying groceries, everything that we need in our day-to-day activity that are sunken cost. And yes, they are things that we need, but it's amazing how we won't justify, paying ourselves for our investment future first. And again, starting with just a small amount of money can get you mentally conditioned to starting the channeling of money toward those accounts for the eventual opportunity to potentially buy assets within that particular account. So, guys, I just wanted to again, a lot of my message is based solely on investors that are looking to start out in the market. You can seek out a ton of different information online. Some of it's credible, some of it is extremely misleading. I particularly don't have to do this channel at all. I did this just as an initiative to help people and help people solely. I've been independently investing now for quite some time, and I believe it's one of the very best kept secrets in the financial institution. This is something that, unless you hear about, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to just happen upon this information. All right. And if you're out there and you're listening to this and you're intrigued just a little bit, I encourage you to take that little spark and research what I'm talking about, because it is very real. If at the end of your research you can answer a few questions for yourself, you probably didn't know that you could wealth preserve money for your entire life. You probably didn't know that you could tax shelter money for your entire life. Furthermore, what was enlightening to me is the fact that you could trade stock and asset classes within your retirement account and accelerate the growth process for yourself over time. And you do not have to do so through the services of the financial industry. You can do it all yourself. All right, I hope you've enjoyed the video. I will be coming out with follow-on videos. It's all aimed at empowering independent investors. We're looking to build really just a community of investors that enjoy the topic, enjoy wealth building together, and this is absolutely a result and a product of my particular videos. Is if you do even some of the things that I'm talking about, and you do them in sequential order, and you do them in the right order, and you start to fund these accounts, you're going to start to appreciate wealth for yourself. Listen, thank you so much. Look forward to joining you again. Hit the thumbs up bottom at the bottom. Hit the subscribe button so you can be notified of all future videos. And if you have any specific topics that you'd like to hear, go ahead and drop those topics in the bottom comments section, and I'll review those and I'll put those right on, because again, my goal is to just help you guys and get the information out there, because it is extremely necessary. Listen, thank you so much for tuning in. Good luck in your investment future.